Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the sewing part of the previous video. If you're a new subscriber here, you're welcome. If you're yet to subscribe, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So guys, before you even start cutting on your fabric, I forgot to make this adjustment. So I'm just closing the darts with a pin, and then I noticed that the back and the front were not equal. Can you see? So just place yours together, put an extra paper, mark the front length on the back, and then connect to that new line. That's pretty much all you have to do, guys. That was all I forgot to do in the pattern, so I'm just showing you guys here. So I'm just trimming out the excess, and you can see it's equal now. So these are my pieces. That's the front, that's the back. For the front, the center front is cut on fold. I have 1 inch at the side, half an inch at the top, and half an inch and 1 inch at the bottom. Sorry. Then that's my lining piece. I cut it up to where the slit will stop. That's how long I wanted the lining piece to be. And for the back, I have 1 inch on the zip side, I have 1 inch on the side of the skirt, and 1 inch at the bottom, and half an inch at the top. I cut the lining exactly like the front, where the slit will stop. This is my front piece. I have half an inch on the armhole, 1 inch at the side, half inch at the bottom, half inch at the neck, and half inch at the shoulder. For the back, I have half inch at the center, half inch at the shoulder, half inch at the side, 1 inch on the side rather, and half an inch on the bottom. So this is my sleeve. I expanded it more, guys. So if you want yours to be as big as mine, you can say I opened my paper more. Just make sure that from the center to each of the sides are exactly equal. So now I'm just marking up my front so I remember where the front is. Please guys, mark yours because it's very important, and I'll let you know why later on. So now I'm going to be starting with the front. I'm marking out my darts. Guys, please, your dart does not start from the exact point there. Measure 1 inch down from the point of the side, that 1 inch, just like I did, and then connect it to the dart legs 1 inch down, so it's not exactly on your nipples. That's why you do that. You take it 1 inch down. So I'm just tracing that out with my tracing wheel. So guys, if you do not have a tracing wheel, I'll show you another way you can get your darts out on your fabric. So I'm just piercing pins at the ends. I'm putting pins again, so the pin touches all 4 pieces, both the lining piece and the main piece and the center. You can see I'm marking the pins. I'll slowly remove the first layer, mark where the pin is on that one, open the second layer, mark the pin. So the pins gives me guidelines to where each of the lines are, so I'll just make small lines there, just like I'm doing. So when I take out open the entire fabric, I'll just connect those my lines. That's what I'm doing there, just connecting what I was able to get from the pin. So I'm doing the same thing to the center, the middle darts. I'm just opening all my pieces and marking out, drawing out all the darts. So guys, that's another way for you to be able to get your darts if you do not have a tracing wheel. And tracing wheel, problem with it is it doesn't really show on light fabrics like chiffon and maybe thicker fabrics. So you can use this method to get your darts. So I'm tracing out my darts on my skirt. Before I do that, I'm marking out the hip line. I'm making a small notch, so when I'm joining all my pieces together, I'll know where the hip starts from. So please guys, just a small tiny cut, so it shows on the main piece and on the lining piece. So I'm marking where my slit stops. Guys, I increased my slits from the initial 17 to 20 inches, from the waist to 20, from the waist down 20 inches. So now I'm just rolling out my darts. So if you want your slits as high as mine, you can do that. Just marking out my darts. I use the same exact method. I'm making notches again at the front part of the hip and at the slit, and I'm just marking out the darts again. So that's, just do yours exactly like mine. So guys, after doing the dart, I'm going to sew that down and show you guys what it looks like. So I'm done sewing that, and this is what it looks like. So this is it all. This is the front part. That's the main piece, and that's the lining piece. So I'm going to start assembling it. I'm putting the front, I'm bringing the back. I'm just marking out where the wrong side is so I know where that is. And then I'm going to be connecting the shoulder to the shoulder, side to the side, the shoulders, the side, and I'm going to sew that down. I'm going to be doing the same thing to the lining piece. Exactly what you do to the main piece is what you do to the lining piece. So the same thing I'm doing, assembling it. Then I'll go and sew it and show you guys what it looks like. So guys, I'm done. This is what it looks like. So now I'm going to turn it, attach the lining and the main piece together. So I'm placing right sides together, but before that I want to put my button loop. So I'm marking the 1/2 inch allowance at the center back out, going to roll that across. I'm marking the 1/2 inch at the bottom, the 1/2 inch at the neck part too. So where that square meets is where I'll put my button loops, at the beginning and at the end. Where the 1/2 inch at the side and the 1/2 inch at the top and at the bottom meets, that's where I'll put my loops. So I sewed that down and I'm just using my main fabric to cover that. Then I'll be sewing on exactly the 1/2 inch line so I can secure my button loops. So now after doing that, I'm just closing the sides, the center, the bottom. Guys, I'm going to be stopping at that point where I'm touching, where the front dart starts to where the other point of the other dart starts. I'm going to be leaving that open and I'll explain why later on. So this is what I'm just showing you. See, mine is exposed. So you close every other part and you leave there. So now we're going to be heading over to the skirt part to complete that right now. So just leave yours the way mine is. So for the skirt, I'm working with the back first. I'm going to be joining the two center back pieces together. So first of all, I'll be pinning from where I made that hip notch. So remember why I made that hip notch? This is why. So I can know where each hip meets before I continue. So I'm pinning that down. I'm pinning the center back, just marking where that hip line starts from. Guys, I'm going to be making a loose stitch up to that point and a tight stitch all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to be joining my lining pieces, same thing, but the only difference is I will only be sewing from that point down. I will not be sewing at the top. So this is what I meant. I have a loose stitch up to that point and then a tight stitch all the way down, because I'm going to be attaching my zip there, that's why. So you can see the lining piece, I didn't do the top part where the zip will be. So I'm just going to be fixing the zip to the back piece and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Can you see, guys? I finished attaching my zip. So I'm going to be placing the front piece over the back right now. I'll be I'll join where that hip notch is. Hip notch to hip notch, I'll pin that down. And then I'll also be pinning where the slit is going to stop, or start rather, and I'll pin that down as well. So I'll sew all the way to where the side slit will be, and that's where I'll stop. And then I'll be doing the exact same thing. I'll stop at that point, so my slit will be at the bottom. So I'll just marking that so that I know where my slit stops when I'm sewing. And then I'm going to be replicating the exact same thing on the other side, securing the hip notch part again where the cut on the hip is. I'm marking where the slit will stop and I'll just sew it all the way down. Then I'm going to be doing the same thing to this lining and I'm going to sew it all the way down as well. So guys, this is what it looks like. I'm done attaching. You can see my side slits. This is the lining piece. So now it's time to join the top and the bottom together. So I'm just opening it up. Guys, please don't cut out your zip until you are done. Don't cut it out yet, so you don't make the mistake of zipping and ruining the zip. So guys, I added belts. I don't know if it would be nice. I just thought it would make a nice addition. So guys, let me know what you think. I can easily cut it off if it's not nice. So you guys let me know in the comment section what you think at the end of the video. So now I'm just attaching. I'm fixing dart to dart, the front dart to the main dart to dart points. So I'm making sure the darts are touching each other, fixing pinning down the center, and then I'll bring my lining piece over that. I'm turning it inside out, so right sides are touching it, and then I'm pinning the dots to the dots, the other dots to the other dots, making sure the 3 dots are aligned. Then I'm pinning down the center, and then I'll pin all the way to the sides, securing the center, the front, the top piece in between. So that's what I'm doing, sandwiched in between. So I'm just pinning all the way around. When I get to that zip part, I'll open it up and pin it, and I'll just stop there all the way to the other side. So that's what I'm doing, just pinning down. So I'll go and sew that and show you guys what it looks like. So I'm done sewing. This is what it's looking like. Can you see? Looking neat and nice. So now I'm going to be doing it. I did a top stitch just to keep the lining in place. So if you don't know what a top stitch is, it's just taking all the lining to one side and then sewing on top of it from the back. It just keeps your lining in place. Guys, if you want to see a video of what I mean by top stitch, please let me know in the comment section. So I'm just taking everything, turning everything inside out. I need to close up my zip. So this is what, when you turn it all out, it should be looking like this. So now I can cut off my zip because it's secured now and it won't ruin if I zip it up. So after doing that, I'm just going to be pinning it, lining piece to the main piece, making sure the zip is secured in between. So I'm just pinning that down, and I'm sewing it all the way to where that zip stops. So I'm doing the same thing on the other side. This will keep your zip in place and make it neat on the inside. So I'm just pinning that down. I'm going to go and sew that as close to the zip as possible, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So guys, I'm done sewing. This is what it looks like. It's looking neat. I'm just making a triangle, cutting off a triangle at where those two lines meet. Cutting off a triangle at where the lines meet. Just so that when I turn it inside out, it lays flat. So guys, do you see? Can you see how neat it's looking? So I'm just going to zip up my zip. Can you see? It's looking nice, guys. So this is what it looks like on the inside, neat, and everything is hidden away. Can you see the front? Looking really nice. So guys, at this point, yours should look like that, please. So now I'm just marking off the front of the sleeve very well, so I know that that's the front and the other part is the back. Please, it's important, mark yours so you know that's the front and then the other side is the back of the sleeve. So I'm making marks so I can know the wrong side of the fabric. I'm creating the casing for my elastic, and then I'm making a gather stitch at the. So let me explain that again. I will make a fold for the casing for my elastic, and then I'll make gather stitches on the back part. Remember when I said mark the front? So now I'll make gather stitch on the back part. So I'm done making that, and I've done the casing for my elastic. So I'm just going to be passing my elastic through. I'll do this on both the sleeves. So I'm passing my elastic through. Then I'm going to sew that down all the way to the top. Pin that down and sew that down. I'm doing that to the other side, other sleeve too. So I'm done sewing that. You can see my gather stitch. So now I'm going to be attaching that to the main fabric. So guys, that's where the gather stitches will help you know that okay, that's the back part. So you make sure the back is facing the back, and the side without the stitch is facing the front. So now I'm pinning center to center, side seam to side seam. Then I'm going to be pinning, starting with the front. I'll pin the front the entire way. If you can see, as you can see guys, the front matches exactly with the front, but the back will not match because the front armhole and the back armhole are not the same. So that's why I said make a gather stitch. So now I'm just pulling in that sleeve with my gather stitch to fit into the back armhole. Guys, don't worry, even after you sew, you won't even notice it at the front. This is just to help you gather the excess of the back armhole into the armhole slot. So I'm going to sew that round. Can you see, guys? You can't even tell that there was a gather stitch there. So I'm just going to iron that down, and it's going to look really neat and nice. So now it's time to finish up the hem of the lining. I'm going to be hemming that, folding into two and sewing down. I'll do the same thing to the side slits, to the bottom, the side slits on both sides, and to the bottom on both the front and the back. Just going to be folding that into two and hemming it down. So that's what I'm doing there. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. Guys, when I got to the edge, I made a square. That's what I was using my hand to indicate. I made a square at that point of the slit. So I'm done. It's time to attach our buttons. So I'm just showing you guys the buttons I'll be using. I'm going to sew that down and show you guys what it looks like. And our dress is ready. Guys, I'm just going to quickly iron this and show you guys what it looks like. Wow, it looks so good, guys. It looks so good. So guys, just do yours exactly like this and I promise you achieve the exact same result. So I'm just tying my belt, trying to show you guys what it looks like. I think it looks nice with the belt. I don't know. I mean, you guys let me know what you think. I think it looks really good with the belt. So I can decide to not use the belt if I want and then use it if I want. I can just tuck it in if I don't want to use the belt. So please guys, let me know what you think, belt or no belt. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.